Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lando from the Snap, joined by my co-host Mac, where we are here to preview Thursday Night Football and then talk about news and notes, get some trade talks going on, and answer your questions live. So just like the thumbnail says, if you're here watching us live or after the fact, get us in the comments and we'll give you the best advice we can because this is the time, Mac. This is the time to make your trades, vie for that fantasy championship. And there's a lot of news to talk about. So I can't wait to get into it with you today. How you doing, my friend?
I've been better, as you can probably hear in my voice. It's been a battle this week. I went to the Packers-Lions game on Sunday, and on the return home, just started falling apart. And here we are. It's Wednesday. It's been a week. We're on the upswing, which is good. And there's lots to talk about. It feels like every point in the season we're at some sort of crossroad with DeAndre Swift or Jonathan Taylor the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's Groundhog Day at that point in the season, but we got to find some answers for the people. So we're going to try and dive into that. We're going to talk some news. I think news is probably the best place to start if you want to dive into that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, number one, I think we need to talk about the Colts and the signing of Saturday.
Yeah.
Probably the best known center in like in NFL history, maybe I would say. Just shows that it's about who you know, not what you've done. He was surprised by getting the call himself, being like, "Are you sure you're gonna offer me this job? And is this gonna be good?" So he's an offensive lineman. Can he fix their offensive line? Is it going to be a mess? Are they just going to tank now? Like, I don't know what's going on in Indianapolis. This is a good thing for Jonathan Taylor. He plays fantasy football. He's got Devontae Adams on his team, and they're playing the Raiders this week.
Yeah.
This is a crazy time for the Colts.
It's definitely an interesting time. What I have learned about Saturday is that he is not going to be doing any play calling. Let's just say he's going to relinquish those duties to his offensive and defensive coordinators. So he's going to be like a glue guy.
Yeah,
he's
motivational leader in the locker room.
A leader, a personality. Clearly he's well respected within the organization. Jim Irsay, the owner, is thrilled with him.
They're not going to space, Mac. It's not that hard.
It's right. Correct. But he has no coaching experience. He's never done this before. So it kind of like there's a bit of, this is trepidatious water. Let's just say this is uncharted territories for the Colts. If I was a Colts fan, I'd be a little bit displeased. But to be honest, I wasn't overly satisfied with the Frank Reich system. It felt like he lost track of who his best players were from time to time. Look at what happened to Matt Ryan. Look at the misuse of Jonathan Taylor over the past 2 years. Maybe this is what this team needs, is just someone to come in with a little bit of common sense. Inexperience, comes with it, but a little bit of common sense to be like, let me just get my best players the ball. If that leads to wins, who knows? Are they tanking? That's unseen. I'm not sure what this means for Jonathan Taylor, but I hope he can just get back to playing football. And it looks like we won't know that until tomorrow because the practice report for Thursday means the most.
Yeah.
Wednesday's usually a rest day.
Yeah.
But we'll see what comes tomorrow.
The thing is, I think you're right. There's a fork in the road right now with Jonathan Taylor, and we have some questions in the comments already. We will get back to your questions as soon as we get through all the news and notes.
You know what? Let's just get them now while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because it ties into our takes about JT.
Yeah, so if you're trading away JT or trading for JT, there's going to be a right and a wrong, and it feels like you can still get pretty good value for this name that was the 101, and trading him away right now for the value might be a good move. But it also, acquiring Jonathan Taylor, getting that upside, if you've got a great record, and that I think matters the most if you're trading for JT, could be that league winning move, exactly what you need to win a championship. So we have Jonathan Taylor or Cordero Patterson this week. In week 10, Patterson came back with a couple touchdowns, looked like himself. We know the Falcons are the opposite of the Colts and will just run the ball every single time, regardless if they're winning or losing. Do you just play Cordero Patterson this week and not worry about it?
Yeah, I think you do.
I think you do.
I'm reading practice reports right now. Jonathan Taylor did practice today. He was seen participating. He was not full, but he was on the field.
Right.
You have to just, I know it's a short week. We're going to get to this in a bit, but the Falcons Panthers play on Thursday. I think you just have to play him. Cordero over Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gross. This is the
point. It is
gross.
At.
Yep. Now, trading. This is the next big thing. Trading for him or trading him away is a trepidatious move.
Yep. You like my word, trepidatious.
Loved it.
Yeah, you did.
Loved it.
This trade is interesting. You're trading away 2 running backs for a running back and a wide receiver. You're sitting pretty right now with Travis Etienne and Ken Walker. Ken Walker does have a bye week coming up in week 11, so you have to be sort of weary of that. But the Eagles are already past their bye. The Colts have a week 14 bye, I believe. So you got kind of bye weeks on both sides. If I'm being completely honest, I hold more promise for JT over Swift right now because, like, I went to that game and DeAndre Swift got the ball 6 times. He had 16% of the snaps. Every single time he came to the game, though, he was used. When he was called upon, they schemed plays for him. They got him in the slot. He ran, little slants over the middle, picked up first downs, got the ball a couple times out of the backfield. Like, when he's on the field, he's getting the ball. Yeah. And everyone knew it, and no one could stop him. If that role grows somehow, some way, he's elite again. JT, though, I think he could just step back into a workload ASAP, whereas Jamal Williams has still been great. So
that's true.
I do like the JT side still.
Yeah. Yeah. Swift against the Bears seems so nice this weekend, and there's such a potential for a shootout. The Bears have traded away their defense, and Fields looks electric, and it's the Lions haven't looked great, but if anything is going to make them look great, it's that Bears defense. And maybe it'll be just a fun, big shootout game, and Swift could be a recipient. But you're right. At any given time, they could just take him out. Whereas if JT is healthy, you think that Saturday would make the right move and give him that 80% snap share that there's 0.000% chance that Swift gets that.
Yeah.
Now, I do prefer Higgins over Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has been very good.
Yep.
But Higgins on bye this week, so it doesn't really matter. But long term, I in a PPR league, I prefer Higgins.
Long term, yes.
Yeah.
Short term, I'm still probably going with the JT side.
There you go.
Unless your glaring need is at wide receiver.
Right. So one player that we need to discuss is Darren Waller. And I know you have Darren Waller. You drafted him to be that positional advantage in your leagues. And still limited in practice, has a hamstring injury. He probably still has some value. Maybe.
You think?
I don't know if you're in first place in the league and you have Tyler Higbee, would you be, and Darren Waller's on the block, are you just going to say, I'm going to stick with Higbee, or would you want this potential in Waller?
I just see no upside right now with him.
Yeah.
Like this team is not in a position to compete at the moment. Like they're getting boat raced in their division.
Yeah.
That probably doesn't change. There's no urgency for him to get back on the field with what feels like a lost season for them. And it might be too early to say that, but they're going to have to run the table. Darren Waller still limited in practice, dealing with a hamstring injury. We know that those softer tissue issues linger and they don't fully heal themselves without sufficient rest. Darren Waller hasn't played a game since week 5?
Darren Waller, yeah, and it feels like it's been
It
the entire
feels like it's
season.
been longer because he's been disappointing.
Yeah.
He was disappointing in those last couple games. So I'm not making a play for Darren Waller. If I have him, you can't drop him because at a moment's notice, if healthy, he's still a difference maker at the tight end position, but it's not to the point where I have the confidence to go out and get him.
His last game was week 4, and it was a bust. The week before was week 3, and that was also a bust. His only good game in the season, over 10 points, was week 2 in Arizona.
Right.
He's been one of the biggest busts of the year.
Big time.
Yeah.
Are you starting DeAndre Swift this week? Playing the Chicago Bears?
I want to. I've done my rankings, and I don't know if he's in my top 24.
Yeah, he shouldn't be.
Yeah. So
unless things change, like if DeAndre Swift sees a 50% snap share, he will be a top 15 running back.
Right. Oh, just kidding. So he's 21st. He's above Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Would you play any of those guys over Swift?
I thought because of those 6 teams coming back from bye that we would have more in contention for that. I guess last week he was running back 26 on a very short game slate.
Right.
On only 16% of snaps. My point with him is if he sees even 50% workload, he's going to produce for you because of how efficient he is with the ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With that being said, with Jamal Williams getting 20 plus carries, if you have Jamal Williams, you play Jamal Williams.
You have to.
You got to at this point.
Yeah.
Until we see DeAndre Swift get 50% of the snaps or more, you just got to roll with Jamal if you have him.
Yep, you do. And I know, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's basically not startable right now, but I mean, probably your roster has 2 running backs better than Swift and Clyde right now on your team. Let's hope.
Clyde for certain.
Yeah.
Clyde is nearing unrosterable.
Correct.
They're just so sad. I mean, that we kind of were telling people at the beginning of the year, trade Clyde. His efficiency is sky high. He's scored basically a touchdown a week. You can't rely on that amount of touchdown dependency, efficiency to be fantasy relevant long term. And it feels like that window is now gone. Mm-hmm. As soon as Isaiah Pacheco was announced the starter, which for the record doesn't matter, that value is gone.
Yeah.
It's over.
I had a chance to trade Clyde for DeAndre Hopkins while Hopkins was still injured and
suspended,
sorry. Yeah. And I didn't do it. And one thing also, I had Hollywood Brown on my team, so that would be 2 Cardinals, and he's suspended, short bench, no running backs. I'm like, man, I want to do this deal right now. I'm not really looking to acquire a suspended player, but then I'm kicking myself.
Yeah. I feel you, brother. Those are the moves. Those are the moves that we need.
And that win you leagues, taking those risks, knowing exactly what I knew. We had done videos, Mac, that sell Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I was trying to shop him. It just, sometimes the package, right time or wrong time, right deal.
Blake Dean is asking, Lando, are you from Texas? I assume there's a Port Arthur in Texas.
Port Arthur, Texas. I am not. I've gotten that comment before, Blake. I am from Canada, my friend. Hence the Northern Ontario accent. So
they don't know what that is. Blake, where Landon lives, it's called Thunder Bay. It was at one point before it was named Thunder Bay, it was 2 cities. There was Port Arthur and Fort William. And to this day, it's still divided, I would say, into those 2.
Yeah, we still consider. Yeah, we still refer to both sides of the city.
But if you look on a map, it's no longer that way. But yes, we've had that. I think actually Griffin asked initially if you were from Port Arthur, Texas.
Well, Griff is from Texas, and I mean, yeah. I'm gonna my my partner and Griff are in the same industry, so I'm trying to recruit Griffin up to Canada. And maybe he'll join the snap. Producer Griff coming in here.
Like taking over Scotty's job. Or just adding to.
Well, yeah, we're just growing.
I love it. We get some other questions here. I'm cool to just mix them in, Lando. It's always fun. Rate the trade. Dak and Devontae Smith for Olave. He's got Tua and Deshaun Watson. I mean, if you've got Tua and Watson, I don't mind trading away Dak. And Olave is a huge upgrade to Devontae Smith given the target share. So I like the deal, man. Speaking of speaking of Deshaun Watson, have you started stashing him in any redraft leagues? It's a hair early.
I'm seeing him added already.
Yeah.
And
do you like the play?
I have him in one of our Snap listener leagues. That's a super flex. I've been stashing him since the get-go, and I think seems like I've made the okay decision because my record's okay in that league.
Yeah.
So I look like I'm in pretty good shape. But no, I'm not. It's a little too early for me to stash him. But he's coming back next week. Week 11 is his first eligible week back. So yeah,
no,
you know what?
That's incorrect.
Isn't it?
No. It was an 11-game suspension. So he is plus the bye week. So he is ready to come back week 13.
Oh.
Funny enough.
It's against Houston though, right?
Funny enough, it will be in Houston.
Okay. So then, yes, it is too early for me to...
Yeah, we're 3 weeks away from a Deshaun Watson game.
Right. Yeah.
3.5 if you count this week as one. But yeah, like I'm considering it if you have the bench space, because the tough thing with Deshaun Watson is if you add him, you can't put him in your IR. You shouldn't be able to put him in your IR. Suspended players should not be eligible. So I do think that a player of his caliber should not be on your waiver wire. But the question is, how long do I wait?
Yeah.
Am I potentially using up a spot that could help me win a week by, streaming a tight end or streaming a different quarterback? If you have, let's say, who's on bye this week? Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you've been playing Burrow and Lamar, who have been top 5 at their position, you got to go elsewhere. Well, are you going to drop Deshaun Watson now? I think the answer is yes. But it feels dumb if you've been, holding out. So the question is, what's a roster spot worth to you? And I think if it comes down to having to make a play to roster somebody like, tight end or quarterback, you have to make that sacrifice. If you can afford it, even better.
If you have an elite tight end, kicker, or defense, like right now, like you're probably not dropping Justin Tucker, right? Like he's one of those few kickers you're not dropping. You're not dropping New England's defense, maybe.
Buffalo's.
Maybe Buffalo's defense.
Mm-hmm.
So the Eagles, obviously. So you can't roster 2 defenses and 2 quarterbacks.
No.
Or 2 tight ends even. Like you don't want those double up on the onesie positions. So it's very dependent on your team makeup.
If you do have an extra spot though, like you're rostering a Christian Watson, a Romeo Doubs, and I'm beating up on the Packers here. You're holding on to a Robbie Anderson, a fringe piece. I would just move on from that piece and I would grab Deshaun Watson. So might be a positional advantage for you. Deshaun Watson, I read the other day, as a starter in his last season, averaged like 26 points a game.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be on your waiver wire, but something to think about.
Tons of good questions in the chat. Make sure to toss a like on this video. Share it out to your friends. We're trying to grow. We're trying to get to 3,000 subs. We're close. We might be able to get there next week, hopefully. That'd be awesome.
Juan says he traded Swift and Lockett for Waddle. Still have Christian McCaffrey, Ken Walker, and Ramondre. Thoughts?
Yeah, I like it.
Good move.
Yep.
Given that you're solid at running back, you don't really need Swift. I think the upgrade from Waddle or from Lockett to Waddle is is big. Yeah, I think that's a great
Waddle
trade.
is so good.
Yeah.
If you can get him in Dynasty right now, I mean, he's one of those really, really good pieces. I know, Mac, you were trying to get him in the league, and the owner is just as infatuated as him as I'm talking right now. Like he's very, very good.
He is very good. Let's go through some news here. Keenan Allen not expected to practice. He did not practice today.
What do you
He's
do?
day-to-day right now. What do you do with this situation in Los Angeles? Mike Williams is still out, got another 3-ish weeks to go until he's eligible to play, hit the IR. Josh Palmer's been great in relief. Gerald Everett's been great, but we're desperate for Keenan Allen to come back, and I don't think he plays again this week.
No, and I did a video on him last week, and it's done actually quite well, and I do think he presents some upside when he's healthy. It's just if or when he's healthy. He's almost droppable if you have a tough bye week. Like the point of holding on to him just for him to pull another hamstring, man. Like pull a Julio Jones or Deshaun Jackson, because it feels like this guy just can't stay healthy. He had such a great opportunity since Mike Williams is out, Mac, and I feel like Mike Williams is going to come back before he does.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Keenan Allen, I don't have much confidence that we see him like anytime soon, which is so sad.
One hamstring injury, he's missed the entire season.
Yep. Dameon Pierce added to the injury report. Chest and shoulder issue, limited at today's practice. The telling sign for Pierce for this week will be, does he practice in full either Thursday or Friday? If that is a no, then players don't usually have limited practices on Friday and play Sunday. It typically doesn't happen. So that's something to monitor. Speaking about Dameon Pierce, we got a question coming in from Twitch. Someone offered me Jonathan Taylor for Dameon Pierce. What do you think? I'm taking Jonathan Taylor, if I'm being honest.
If I think Pierce will be healthy.
Let's assume that he is. That I'm fine with that.
Okay. Then you know what? I might just take Pierce and run.
We're essentially saying rest of season.
Yeah.
You're okay with that?
And I think I'm okay with that.
The one thing with Jonathan Taylor that you have to consider here is he still has a bye week to get through, which is week 14.
True.
So you do have an extra game.
Yeah.
The downside with Pierce is he's also dealing with an injury. And if he misses this week and Jonathan Taylor plays, you pick that game up. So it's nullified. It's really, what do you believe the rest of season to be for Jonathan Taylor and for Dameon Pierce?
Yeah. Pierce, he looks really good. He's performing well. He has explosiveness. He was very healthy. He's getting a ton of usage, almost the past 2 games, 78% snap share, tons of opportunity. Their schedule is fine. There's a couple tough matchups with Dallas. That's pretty much it. Maybe this week with the Giants might be tough, but I'm not really that worried. Like he looks really good there. Committed to him. He is, he's a top 14 running back this year.
The volume has been the nicest thing to see from Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
Like he's getting, he's had multiple games over 20 attempts. He's been involved in the passing game, except for last game. They didn't pass it to him at all. That's been out of the norm.
Yeah.
27 attempts last week, almost 140 yards, 5 a carry.
Against Philadelphia.
Against a really good defense. He has another tough test this week against the Giants. Hopefully he's healthy and good to go. Down the stretch, though, Kansas City, Tennessee, Jacksonville, really good playoff schedule. I'm still rolling with JT. If Dameon Pierce doesn't play this week, you probably look like a bit of a genius. But who knows? That's a whole question mark in Indy with Saturday with Coach Jeff Saturday. So we don't know, man.
If the
this is a tough one.
Yeah. If you
I'll take
need
JT rest of season, but it's close.
If you need to manufacture wins, and if you're because you have because you have Dameon Pierce, you're probably doing pretty good. If you had the Jonathan Taylor side, you're probably not doing so good.
Right.
So if your record's good and you're set for the playoffs, you're looking really good for the playoffs, taking the risk on JT is all right. If you need to make the playoffs and you just need a reliable running back, Pierce is that guy right now. And they're close enough rest of season that you might just need a reliable running back to help you get in there.
Context matters so much. If you guys can give us as much context as possible, it really does help us give you the best advice. Let's go to a couple questions here before we move on to the next piece of news. We got Jim 896, full point per reception, pick 3, Lazard, Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy.
So
heavy sigh there, Lando.
Tyler Boyd, Tyler Boyd's not playing this week.
That is correct. The Bengals are on bye.
So I think I go Lazard. Lazard and DJ Moore are. I think it's Lazard, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk for me.
Not Jerry Jeudy.
I think I'm going to sit Jerry Jeudy from that list.
Why? I'm just curious.
Because I just DJ Moore, though he had a bad game this week, has a really good matchup coming up, and I think he's primed to bounce back. Lazard has been very good, and so is Christian Kirk. So it's for me, it's not a slight on Jerry Jeudy per se. It's just I see the upside with DJ Moore, and when Lazard's healthy, he is the number one, and then Christian Kirk is just it's hard to deny what he's done so far this year.
It's been on the back of some touchdowns.
Kirk,
yes. To me, Christian Kirk and Jerry Jeudy feel like the same player. Heavily targeted, not overly productive with the football.
Yeah.
But Jerry Jeudy being targeted more than Christian Kirk over the last 4 weeks. The Broncos have just struggled to score points.
Yeah.
The better game script probably lies with the Jags playing the Chiefs, if I'm going to be honest. But I mean, Jeudy and Kirk just feel like such similar players.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Another thing I would say, because Jeudy is the number 2 in that offense, and Kirk is still considered the 1. So in theory, I prefer Courtland Sutton in that offense to Jeudy. So
the target share does not reflect that.
Right. Yeah. No, you're not wrong there. Even though my perception is that Sutton should see the target share, and the reality might not reflect it. You're right.
My answer is going to be DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to sit Lazard and Tyler Boyd.
So why Lazard?
Because this offense is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
They are potentially without Aaron Jones or limited Aaron Jones, which if you're in a deeper league, a Kylan Hill is a nice add. They lost Romeo Doubs for 4 to 6 weeks, and they lost Toure at the end of the game. I don't know, man. Watching the game in person on Sunday, it was very telling, the holes in this offense. The protection is not there for Rodgers. No one can get open. I watched Sammy Watkins on probably 8 straight plays during a longer drive, and Sammy Watkins cannot create an inch of separation on his defender. He is literally someone that cannot be thrown at. Lazard got a ton of targets. I think he had 8 targets in the game that I went to.
10.
Yeah. He only caught 4.
Yeah, you're right.
The quality of target is still there from Rodgers. The separation is not there. His ability to get open is not there, and it's because there's nobody else to catch the football. So, while he's the only option, I don't necessarily know that means that it will be productive.
Hey, I mean, you are the Packers fan in this on the show.
I would love to say start him, but I just don't
Yeah.
hold the faith.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I appreciate everyone coming through. Lots of people watching, lots of good questions. Don't forget to like the video. We do get to every single question, even on a Wednesday night. Welcome in, obviously, Snap Army member Joe Griffin, and then also my boy Chris Timmons, also
yes, sir.
in the chat coming through.
We've been talking trades today with Chris.
I have indeed. Maybe I'll get a live.
Ooh, maybe you'll get a live accept.
Oh, he sent me a counter.
Oh, I love that. On air.
We're on the air.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Sure.
Let's get to Michael's question here. Josh Jacobs for Miles Sanders and James Robinson, wanting to get some more running back depth, and he just doesn't trust Josh Jacobs after one poor game.
Right.
Come on, Michael. I think if you need depth, it's not a bad play. James Robinson's somebody I don't necessarily trust, but he got 13 carries. That's more than I thought he would.
If you want depth, Robinson, that's where I was exactly going to go. Robinson isn't my target.
No.
I don't want a muddy backfield in New York.
Well, and it's a muddy backfield in Philly too.
That's true to an extent.
It's been more Miles Sanders than it has been. But it's not like Gainwell is not involved. Scott is not involved. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is not running the football, right? Like, it's not like it's a consolidated workload, whereas Josh Jacobs has the consolidated workload.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's no one else.
Like J-Rob or Michael Carter. One could spell the other. Jalen Hurts runs the ball a ton. Those other backs like to get involved. It's not all Miles Sanders' job. I'm personally still going to roll with Jacobs. I'm not going to let one bad performance ruin what he did for you the previous 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
Which was be the number one running back by a mile.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree. And this is coming from a noted Josh Jacobs hater.
I hate Josh Jacobs. I hate him.
But
he's
the fantasy points talk louder.
He is a troll. He is just a bad human being. I think he's evil. He hates fantasy football, so I hate him.
Right.
But I think you got to play him. I think you got to keep him.
And keep him.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter when you're winning a fantasy championship.
It doesn't.
None of that matters.
It really doesn't. Grip trying to make some big trades here. I love the targets. Hill, Jefferson, Chase, AJ Brown. Keep those trades going, my man.
Yeah, Amari Cooper is a nice little target. He's been one of the best, most consistent wide receivers out there right now. And like I said, coming off a bye, people forget how good they are. So they're more expendable coming off a bye. I truly believe that. It's easier to get players.
See if Wan'Dale Robinson's on your waivers.
Yeah.
The Parkour Master said, we totally saved the fantasy week last week with Kenyon Drake. Thank you a lot. You're welcome a lot. I honestly don't remember telling you Kenyon Drake, but if we did, awesome.
Well, Mac, you weren't here last week. That's why you don't remember.
No. Or was it on the Sunday or was it on the midweek?
It would have been this past weekend.
Oh, okay. Then good job, Lindo. This is the Jonathan Taylor, Dameon Pierce situation. 4th place, 6 teams make the playoffs, so I might roll with Pierce. That's totally. I think at the end of the day, like, there's upside for both of them. If Dameon Pierce's injuries are just minor and it doesn't affect his play, then he's probably got the most upside. Because he's still got to get JT back on the field. And he's still going to miss a week in week 14.
Josh Allen was just ruled out.
Oh, wow.
Is that official?
That hasn't come across my desk, quote unquote. But I mean, let's do a little refresh here. I have not seen that come across my news feed.
No, me neither. And I only believe Schefter. Schefter is the only guy I'm listening to.
This is what I got to say. If you are using Twitter for your news, people can now pay for the blue check mark. So I have seen a million parody reports going around from blue checks today. I saw one that was like someone made their Twitter handle Connor McDavid 97 and they announced with a blue check mark, and they announced, I've been traded to the New York Islanders. Edmonton, thank you so much for all of the great years. On to bigger and brighter things. And people lost their marbles.
Yeah.
And it's just not true. So be wary on Twitter what you are actually reading.
Yep. Adam Schefter is the only one I actually listened to, and he has not reported that.
I did see, now that we're on Josh Allen, I did see that he was getting some tests today on his UCL, part of the elbow.
Yeah. He's nursing that injury.
He believes that he should be able to play through whatever pain is causing him. Whether the Bills have other plans for him, we don't know. But Case Keenum would be the next man up. So if you are playing in your 2 QB, super flex, deeper leagues, Case Keenum might be an option this week.
I wouldn't be super surprised if he didn't play this week.
They don't really need him to play.
If you're the Bills, no, I agree. And if you're the Bills, it's more important for them to get him fully healthy and make the playoffs than it is for him to play and get re-injured or further the injury. If you're in the playoffs, you have Josh Allen. I don't care if you have a bye week or don't, because he's going to give you the best chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was the Bills, I would just rest him.
Big test this week, though, against the 7-1 Minnesota Vikings.
And Mac, I'm a Vikings fan, and I still think they're the biggest frauds of all time.
Are you really a fan, though?
I have renounced my fandom.
Right.
But
like, I am a Packers fan.
Yeah, I'm not. We're not the same. We're not the same. You
once had fandom.
I'm not a diehard fan whatsoever. Fair. If I had to pick a team, I say it's the Vikings. I've been to see them, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. But I watch all the games because I'm just a football fan. But they're not really as good as their record.
Jim, yeah, it's very close. I personally have Lazard out there and Judy Kirk and who was the other one? DJ Moore in. And if you're going to play DJ Moore, have him in your wide receiver slot and not your flex. You want to have the person with the latest game time in your flex. So DJ Moore in your wide receiver slot.
Everyone, let us know who you're a fan of. We got some people saying I'm a Browns fan. Not going too bad, I guess. No, not with Watson coming back. Let us know who you root for. I know Chris Timmons is a Dallas fan.
Dallas Cowboys fan, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Griff a Cowboys fan? I don't think he is.
I want to say he's a Texans fan.
No. Why does it? I know who he likes. It's just not coming to me right now.
Well, Griff will let us
know. I want to say he's a Saints fan. Could be wrong. I don't know. Uncle Tom, half PPR, sending Derrick Henry for Waddle and Ramondre. Should I?
King Henry. That's a good return.
It is a good return. It all depends on your wide receiver situation, how many teams there are in this league. Is it a 6-team, 8-team, 10-team, 12-team? The larger the league, the more I like it, because the upgrade from your wide receiver 1, 2, 3 is just so much greater when you pick up Waddle. If it's a shallower league, then it's not that big of an upgrade. So depending on your league size, I would say yes. However, I've also been on record saying I don't know if Ramondre is the clear cut running back 1.
You know our fans, Mac.
Is he a Saints fan?
You know the Snap Army Joker is a Saints fan. I almost doubted you. I just about doubted you.
I wanted to say Titans for a second, but it was Saints came to mind. So yeah, good for me.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I think Uncle Tom, the way I would put this, if this is like an 18 team, I'm not doing it. If this is like a 10 or 12 team league, I would be inclined to say yes.
There you go.
Phoenix, should I accept Giving up Ramondre and Jalen Waddle and getting Travis Etienne, Chris Olave, and Amari Cooper. So a 3 for 2. The answer would be yes. I would gain Olave and Cooper plus Etienne for Waddle and Stevenson. Etienne is an upgrade over Stevenson, and Olave and Cooper in the aggregate could keep up with Waddle. So I think you do benefit in this trade.
Yeah, the best player in the deal is still Waddle, but I agree. Getting Etienne looks really, really good. He looks legit. So
Very good.
Amari is as safe as it can be.
The thing that's great about Travis Etienne is he's now getting all of the work on the ground and still very involved in the passing game. So he's one of those backs like a healthy DeAndre Swift who just gets all the work.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Aaron Jones and Jacoby Myers for JT, full PPR redraft 3 and 6.
You are getting Aaron Jones and Jacoby then?
I would want the Aaron Jones and Jacoby side at the moment.
Right. And even with a possibly limited Aaron Jones, I think he
will
play. I think he'll just play in a limited fashion.
We got to find out some more information on this. If this is actually true, this hurts. You do some quick digging.
No, we just did.
For sure?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, he got.
Okay.
That's what I just talked about.
Maybe I got it. These are our guys.
Yeah, no, he has not been ruled out yet.
Should I pick up Wan'Dale Robinson and drop Deion Jackson? Yes, you should.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Deion Jackson is very droppable. We had our time in the sun. It's time to move on though.
If JT's ruled out, I think he'll still get the workload and whatever that's worth. It was a really bad game last week, but he'd be a fine flex play.
My man on Twitch here also went to the game. Should have met up. Should have had a pint.
Yeah.
Went to the Wings Islanders game day before. That was definitely more fun. Yeah. I will say I've never been to Ford Field before. That place has a good time. The people in Detroit know how to have a good time. We were sitting in a group of beauties. Yeah. So much fun. We were jawing, we were chirping each other, celebrating scores. When DeAndre Swift would rip off a run or they would score or we would score, we were giving high fives and fist pumps to guys. Like it was toxic at times, but it was also like really good. At the end, the guys like high five, shook our hands, said, safe trip back to Canada, whatever. Like it was really good, man. Good. Not expecting that from Detroit. No. But Detroit was a lot of fun.
I mean, they got to be used to Canadians coming down, right?
For sure. Oh, it wasn't because we were Canadians. We were Packers fans in enemy territory, but they were still good, man. They were a lot of fun. Browns fans, Saints got that one. 15 minutes away from the Cowboys stadium, but absolutely not. The Houston Astros.
Right. Well, that's why I thought he was a Texans fan, because I knew he was an Astros fan.
There's got to be something wrong with that, though, like not supporting the hometown team.
Listen,
if Toronto ever gets an NFL team, I will renounce my fandom from the Green Bay Packers and support that Toronto team. Because I'm a Leafs fan, I'm a Raptors fan. I don't watch baseball, but I consider myself a Blue Jays fan.
Right.
Like I'm a Toronto sports fan.
And you've been hurt before, I mean, every year from the Leafs. So it doesn't matter how bad the team is. You're used to pain.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
I actually need a Toronto NFL team to create the quadfecta.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think it'll ever happen, to be honest.
If there is, man, I think there's a huge opportunity to go big time with the show.
The only problem I don't think it happens is because you cannot tailgate.
They don't let you.
Yeah, you can't drink in public.
Right.
But we can smoke weed on the street.
Right. There you go.
Should I try to do Joe Mixon for Christian Kirk and Tyler Lockett? 10-man. My starters are Amon-Ra, Mooney, Pierce, Saquon. Need an upgrade at wide receiver. I would agree. Upgrading that Mooney share would be really nice.
But I don't want to trade Mixon.
I don't want to do it at the expense of Joe Mixon, though.
No. You need to shoot higher, Daniel. You got to shoot for a Devontae Adams.
Agreed.
Like Joe Mixon.
Especially in a 10-team league.
Yeah. Yeah. Kirk and Lockett's not going to win you a league.
No.
Mixon could.
Well, he's trading away Joe Mixon.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Mixon on your team could help you win a league. We saw, I mean, yes, he's not going to go 5 touchdowns ever again.
Well, no.
But he could have multi-touchdown games to finish the year. And I don't think Kirk and Lockett are the answer. They're not so much an upgrade on Amon-Ra.
Well, it's the Mooney piece that we would love to upgrade.
And I assume that's Alec Pierce, or Damian Pierce, that he's talking about a running back.
Damian Pierce.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I would hope.
Yeah, I would hope so too.
If it's Alex Pierce, it's like,
you can drop him.
Again, if assuming it's Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, and Saquon Barkley, like you have such a high floor with those 3 players that do your wide receivers really, really matter? Like giving up Mixon, I don't think you actually benefit in the long run. I think flexing one of those 3 on a weekly basis is where the bulk of your production is going to come from. If Mooney or Amon-Ra can chip in, you probably win the week handily. So no, I would hold on to Mixon. And you're right, like Landon's right. Coming off a 5-touchdown performance, one of the best in Bengals history, you need to sell him for the moon and the stars if you're gonna.
Yeah. Diggs.
Sure. Parker wants to know if he won this trade, Dalvin and Mostert for Dameon Pierce and Tony Pollard.
I'm not sure you won, Parker.
It's I mean, I dislike the 2 running back trades, like 2 running backs for 2 running backs, or 2 wide receivers to 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to make our teams better. The way I look at it, Dalvin and Dameon Pierce, they're on par with each other.
Pretty close.
Mostert and Pollard, they are both, in muddled backfields.
Timeshares. Now, Mostert was going to be really good with by himself, but now that Jeff Wilson's there, they're the same running back.
They are, and they've worked together in tandem before in San Francisco under Mike McDaniel. Like these guys know how to run a system together, which I think hurts their fantasy value as individual pieces.
Correct. They're splitting the work 50-50. You want the player that gets in the end zone. If they both do, they're great. They're both top 24 running backs if they both get in the end zone. But unfortunately, it's more likely than not that one of them will. You just don't know which one it's going to be.
And Tony Pollard, I mean, if Zeke were to be out long term, the Pierce Pollard side would be a huge upgrade. But we all know that's not the case.
That's the problem, Parker, is that Pollard had a really great week last week. It's just not going to continue because of Zeke's going to be healthy and back in the mix, getting his 60% snap share again.
Just did it, got Wandale. I'll wait and not start him yet this week. I think you could potentially start him, but it depends on your other options. But
I like
come by Sunday, and we'll help you out.
Yeah, I like the wait and see. But yeah, Vlog's game is always coming by the stream, so we'll see him again on Sunday.
This is fair, Griff. I'll give you a pass on that.
And I mean, when y'all are spoiled in the States.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're in Texas, or I guess I should say if you're in Houston, it's probably bad juju to root for the other side of the state, right? You probably don't want to be a Cowboys fan.
That's right.
Yeah. Just like if you are a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, you just despise the Senators, even though they're in the same province.
Correct.
Yeah, correct. I get it. I get it. Should we do JT for Pierce? Who is better? We had this question earlier.
It's funny, man. That's the big question of the night, apparently.
I guess I rescind my earlier answer. I think I would just roll with Pierce.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as
but
I'm
doing a
being talked into it.
1-for-1 deal is it's tough. Like Max said, it's trading a running back for running back. It's so lateral almost that I would rather try to trade for a position of need. Trade away if you have an abundance of wide receivers, then you trade for a guy like Pierce or the other way around.
You just have to be overly right or wrong to win or lose the trade.
One of them is going to be wrong. I think it's going to be pretty definitive. I don't know if they're both going to be good.
Or it's like someone just might be good for you at the times that are most convenient. And like that is totally out of your control.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's if you end up doing that trade and you need Jonathan Taylor in week 14 to get into the playoffs, well, you're not you don't have him.
Yeah.
Let
me know. Let us know your record. If you have 1 or 2 losses on your record, I think trading for JT is fine. If you need some wins right now, trading for Pierce is also fine.
Michael says pick 2. St. Brown versus the Bears, Olave versus Steelers, Juju versus the Jags.
Man, Juju's so tough.
No, he's not.
You want to start him ever? You're just going to start him?
You have to.
Yeah. I almost feel the same about Amon-Ra. And I know you're not a huge Amon-Ra fan.
I did some. So I've been looking at a couple players, and just target shares since return. Juju was one that stuck out. Juju's on pace for 150 targets.
Yeah.
If you take his the last, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks, and you just extrapolate that.
I mean, he's been pretty consistent. He had 1 bad game with 3 targets, but the rest, almost 8 targets every single game except for 3, 5, and 12.
Yeah. He is seeing 8, 9 targets on a weekly basis, which is great. The only thing that is poor for him is that his average depth of target is not downfield. When we saw him dominate in Pittsburgh alongside Antonio Brown, he was very much an outside, bigger play threat, parallel Antonio Brown. But really in Pittsburgh, or really in Kansas City, he's being used as a mirrored version of Travis Kelce. He's working the middle of the field. He's running little buttons. He's working his way back to the football. But I mean, the ball in his hands is great. So I think you got to play Juju. The matchup is really, really nice. And I think that you've got to play St. Brown. I think potentially you just sit Olave down.
Right.
Steelers are the best defense of the 3.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I haven't seen if TJ Watt's going to be back or not. He might miss another week, but something to monitor. If he is back, that's just even better for or worse off for Andy Dalton.
But Michael, come on back on Sunday because we do the exact same live segment, and we might have a better answer for you then.
Yeah.
Do I trade JT for Mike Evans and DK Metcalf? Yes.
Yep.
Question off of Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say context doesn't really matter there. I think,
no, it doesn't.
I assume you have pretty good running backs in behind.
Traded Kareem, Garrett Wilson, Ayuk for JT. Currently have Waddle, Olave, Lazard, Mike Williams on IR. It's a lot to trade for JT. I guess we'll see how it plays out. At the moment, I don't love it, but I guess Garrett Wilson's on bye this week. You could do worse than... Yeah. We'll see how it plays out.
Yep.
JT's going to have to return in a big way, but your other wide receivers, Waddle, Olave, Lazard, I mean, all higher volume guys, lots of opportunity. So
if it's an 8 or 10 team league, there's probably some decent waiver ads.
Yeah.
So you got rid of 2 more players. So you have 2 more spots on your bench. You can just add some flex potential, maybe. I don't know, maybe Wandell and...
Yeah. Cousins or Lawrence this week. You got
Yes.
Cousins going up against the Bills, and you've got Lawrence.
Oh no.
Lawrence going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm gonna go Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, I was gonna go Cousins
against the Bills.
Yeah. If I don't know, yeah, I think I still would.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lawrence has been really solid. Kansas City Chiefs can be thrown on. I don't know if we can say the same about the Bills. I think it'll be a really good game. Minnesota might be able to squeak one out there.
Yeah.
It'll be competitive, but I think I'm just going to play Lawrence for the better fantasy scenario.
You know what? Yeah, he's 11 overall or number 9 QB this year. So yeah,
Kirk Cousins got to be up there too.
Yeah.
And if he gets any more chains on him, he might be QB1.
Number 10, so they're back to back.
Yeah.
So I don't mind Lawrence for a better matchup. That's a fine, very fine start.
Carter's also asking Gabe Davis or Terry McLaurin. If Josh Allen doesn't play, I'm not playing Gabe Davis.
Correct. That's absolutely right.
So I would go McLaurin with the caveat of him not playing. If he does play, if Josh Allen does play, I would play Gabe Davis.
Yeah, Gabe is one of those guys you need to play every week or you'll never get the big week.
Agreed.
You can't, if you pick and choose, you're going to pick wrong.
He's like Mike Williams. You know, you got to take the good with the bad because the good is 28 points and win you the week, and the bad is 2 and might as well been goosed.
Yep.
Jesus got a trade offer for my Travis Kelce and Travis Etienne for Eckler, DK, and Jerry Jeudy. Should I take it? I am going to roll with the Kelce Etienne side for the mere fact that you are losing the tight end and the value over replacement is just so high.
Yeah. And Etienne is really good too. So if we put Etienne on a similar tier to Eckler,
right,
then it's Kelce for DK and Jeudy, and you're probably only feeling super confident starting DK out of those two. Like, as much as I like, Jeudy can have a good game. That he could be that wide receiver 15 on the week. I don't think he has much more upside than that, unfortunately.
You could stream somebody who could give you an equal performance if they get a touchdown. Like,
yeah.
No, I'm keeping Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Now, if for some reason you have Andrews or something as well,
maybe
we're talking something different. But
yeah, what are we talking about?
The likelihood of you having to pick up a tight end, or you have Gerald Everett or something like.
Yeah. What do I do with DeAndre Swift? Got Jacobs, Jamal, Herbert, Chuba. Who can I trade him for at this point?
Oh, Michael, you're trying to trade for Swift? You're trying to trade him away.
No, yeah, he's trying to trade him away. And I think that you don't. If you have Jamal Williams, you just play Jamal Williams until things change with DeAndre Swift. But, you know, he didn't have any setbacks this week. Like I said, I was at the game. Every time he was on the field, his number was called. He got the ball. And he was very efficient with it.
And I don't think you do. Go ahead.
You're not going to get anything for DeAndre Swift right now. That's the problem.
And you're not going to get anything for Herbert or Chuba either.
No.
Maybe
Jacobs is the biggest sell candidate, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think the ceiling with DeAndre Swift is just so high that it's just worth hanging on to if you have Jamal Williams as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason why you own Jamal Williams, right?
Yeah, you handcuffed, and there was a good move. Obviously, if you're a Swift, if you're a Jamal owner, you hope that Swift just was out for the season and forget about it. And now you have an actual stud starter. But
the other problem here is if you trade away DeAndre Swift and you now are using Jamal Williams as a starter, what happens when DeAndre Swift returns healthy and now you lose Jamal Williams as a viable piece?
Yeah.
You kind of have the Lions backfield locked up at this point.
Then you have the same situation as you have Herbert and Chuba, where you don't feel comfortable starting those guys either.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Should I start Carr versus Indy or risk Cousins against a beaten up Bills defense?
There you go. Put you to the test again, Derek. I don't think
I would start. I would start Cousins here.
Yeah, you start Cousins.
Yeah, with no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, Indy is a terrible defense, but we also could see that Josh Jacobs has 3 rushing touchdowns. And
I have Fields and Murray. Don't need both. So which should I trade and for what kind of receiver? I've been offered either Lazard, Higgins, or Godwin.
I think I would probably trade Kyler Murray for Higgins.
I would prefer Chris Godwin.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah. The targets are phenomenal.
I was just gonna bring that up.
He gets so many targets.
I wrote this down earlier today. I got to find it in my notes because I wanted to bring it up on the pod. Let me just go.
It's a crazy amount of targets he's on pace for from week 4 on.
Yeah, let me do some quick math here. I did it earlier, but I can't find my note. Yeah, so he was out. He came back week 1, which was kind of a surprise. And then week 2, 3, he was out. But yeah, week 4 on. So we're on a 6-game pace there. And we have 16, 26, 39, 52, 64 targets in 6 weeks. Times on a 17-game pace, that is 181 targets.
Yeah, I know.
So, but the average depth of target is the point of concern, but 180 target pace is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
And we did a video on Godwin this week, and there was a mixed reaction from me. I own Chris Godwin in the league, and it's so frustrating to own this guy.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in a full PPR league, it definitely softens the blow. But I mean, no yards, nothing of production, no touchdowns for Chris Godwin.
No, what did he have the other week? Like 7 for 36?
Correct.
If you're right, though, if you're in a PPR league, that's just over 10 fantasy points. So
that's
you're okay
great.
with it.
He's had 6 or 7 targets every single game that he's been back. But
he also has had 0 touchdowns.
Correct.
Which is against probability.
The Bucks are struggling.
Yes. Regressing to the mean here would have Chris Godwin scoring a handful of touchdowns the remainder of the season.
And you would be thrilled. At that point, he would be a top 15 wide receiver. He's
higher than that.
Yeah, probably. He's wide receiver.
Someone averaging 11 targets a week?
He's 39 right now.
Yeah, with 2 missing weeks and a bye.
Right, that's true. Right. No, he does. Their
bye
week's coming up.
His bye is coming.
Yeah. And I said if you could buy yourself a bye week, like if you could upgrade and take a guy that's done their bye, that might be a consideration.
Sure.
And if you are a team with a really good record, you're hanging in there and you just want some depth, I think Godwin is a very viable flex option. But if you need to manufacture wins and you can buy yourself a bye week, I think trading him away is also a fine move.
I'm happy to trade away Kyler Murray.
Yeah. He has a hamstring that came up in the news. So his
Justin Fields is running all over the place.
Yeah, his fantasy value for Murray really hinges on him rushing the football, and if he's banged up, then that just limits his upside.
Garrett Wilson for Clyde Edwards-Helaire thinks that Garrett Wilson might do well, but needs a flex. Has Goddard in right now. Obviously, the Jets are on a bye this week. You cannot trade for Clyde Edwards-Helaire at this point.
You can't flex him either.
No, you can't. You might as well go to your waivers and pick up anybody who might get a handful of snaps because that is Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now. No, Garrett Wilson is the clear wide receiver 1 in this offense. He has had multiple weeks with great target shares and good performances. And Dallas Goedert is one of the most heavily targeted tight ends in football. He is a perfect flex for you. I would play Goddard over Edwards-Helaire. So no, you cannot trade Garrett Wilson for Clyde.
Correct. Clyde's upside right now was 6 points because he's going to get a 1-yard touchdown, and that's going to be it.
Exactly. If you guys are in the stream, we appreciate you. A like on the video goes a long way. Subscribing also helps. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. So if you're brand new, we do this once midweek and once on Sundays, 90 minutes before kickoff to get you guys right. Everett, Pitts, or Taysom Hill this week?
Everett.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Who do we like more, Cordero Patterson or Jamal Williams?
Patterson.
It's close, but Patterson. Yeah. This Thursday night game is going to be. Ugh.
But as soon as I think I can trust Patterson, he lets me down. I've been a hater all year. I kind of bought into him last week. I gave some pretty decent advice, telling people to start Patterson, and it worked out. But I have not been a fan of him.
Who could I try to get for Jacobs, or is the workload enough? The workload is consolidated. There's nobody else that's competing for touches.
Yeah, he's just as safe as can be.
I think if you were honestly, Michael, going to trade him, it should have been a week or two ago.
Yeah, it's hard. It's so hard, Mac.
Yeah. No, just keep your DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams shares. Just play that backfield as it sort of unfolds itself, and just keep playing Josh Jacobs.
Sounds good.
Starters: Mahomes, Saquon, Etienne, Justin Jefferson, Michael Pittman, Kenneth Walker. Bench: Lockett, Mike Will, J-Rob, Jay Myers. 5 and 4 got offered to Ramondre and Mike Evans for Kenneth Pittman, Lockett. Thoughts?
I would probably keep
what you got.
Keep what you got. I know that Pittman ain't good, but you're not getting 2 startable wide receivers in that deal. Whereas Lockett, you can start with Geno Smith. So I would just keep benching Pittman and then start Ken Walker and Lockett, and you'll be fine.
Any advice on what to do to upgrade my wide receiver too? Pittman is hurting the squad. Like between Saquon, Etienne, Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, I would be curious to see who your tight end is, because that wasn't listed. And then you got Kenneth Walker. Like, you have 5 pieces here that are very, very productive. Honestly, you can play Lockett over Pittman in the time being, but your biggest piece will be Mike Williams coming back off of IR in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That'll put your team in a really good spot.
So it's like, how far are you currently out of a playoff spot? Are you in a playoff spot? I assume above 500, you're in the playoffs. Can you ride it out? What type of matchups do you have? Are you playing teams on the bottom end, on the high end, or, guys that are, in and around where you are right now? Because that really does matter. If you're playing bottom feeders the next couple weeks, you kind of got a easy stretch into the playoffs. You can probably make do. Or if you're playing seeds 3, 2, 4, 1, like, you might need to make some moves. So I think context really does matter. As of right now, I would just hold tight until Mike Williams gets back. But if you got a tough schedule, you might be forced to make a move.
Yeah.
Full PPR 6 and 3. Got Hurts, Jacobs, Swift, and Jamal. Yeah, that roster. Any thoughts on players to move? We got a lot of really nice pieces.
Yeah, I would say your team's really good.
I can see why the running back core is a point of concern, given that you have CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, Olave, Godwin's. Like, you could probably take one of those wide receivers and pair it up with a Josh Jacobs and go upgrade a running back. At the same time, like, your wide receivers are so solid, plus your tight end is Mark Andrews, that you're probably doing all right.
Yeah.
You can drop David Njoku, though.
Yeah, you don't need, even because you have Andrews, you're not hanging on to him for anything. You can just pick up a flyer. You'll be fine.
Playing Kirk Cousins, but I have the Bills defense. Best available defense: Falcons, Raiders, Broncos, and the Rams.
This is
Broncos.
An interesting question.
Broncos are a good ad.
I think I would still play the Bills, even though you have Kirk Cousins.
I mean, yeah. It's one of those things where you are just hoping that there's enough turnovers in the game where the Bills defense can score some points without having to shut the Vikings out.
Yeah. You're for a defense, you're hoping for sacks, interceptions,
turnovers,
and the Vikings can still score for your defense still to score. So
correct.
You'll be all right.
It's probably not going to be a make or break thing. I mean, if you want to get away from the game, I think the Broncos have a good matchup this week, but
yeah, because you're not dropping the Bills, so rostering 2 defenses is just
also
not
feels stupid.
Yeah.
Should I trade Kenneth Walker and DJ Moore for either Swift or Taylor and Godwin?
No, my
you
dude.
shouldn't.
Keep your guys.
Keep your Ken Walker. I'm in 4th in my division at 5-4. Teams ahead of me are all 6-3. Should win this week, but I'm scared about losing. Right. I think you cross that bridge when you get there, but also top 3 in the division. Okay. I think the other thing to monitor here is, when is your trade deadline? Is it week 10? Is it week 11? Or is it like week 13? Like, every league is different. So that might stress a little bit your situation.
Yeah, join our Discord. We have a lot of good members that can give you some advice. Mac and I are on it from time to time, and we'll do our best. But this is really the best time to get the most advice from us one-on-one. Comment on our YouTube videos. We're here to help. But yeah, just look to make moves before the trade deadline.
Michael's saying just the bye week to consider for Mark Andrews, Njoku, Otten, or Everett. I'm pretty sure David Njoku is out.
Yeah, he's just on IR. So I would prefer just to grab Everett. But I would also wait. I mean, yeah, Andrew's on bye this week, right?
Yes, he's on bye this week.
Play Gerald Everett this week because, Njoku's not playing.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I mean, Cade Otton is certainly interesting after last week, but Gerald Everett's been a staple, top 10 tight end on the year. I think you just roll Everett.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Sweet. Thursday night game. Let's just quickly go through guys that we are starting, guys that we are sitting. Are you starting Marcus Mariota?
No.
Interesting. He's been pretty good.
Has he, though?
Yeah. Yeah, for fantasy. I mean, obviously he's not good for NFL purposes.
Right.
Actually, I can't even say that because the Falcons have outperformed my expectations for them, even with horrendous coaching.
Right. You're right. He's the number 12 quarterback. This past week wasn't good because he didn't get throw any touchdowns.
QB1, Lando. A QB1.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. I think you probably have better options than Marcus Mariota this week, is my guess. It's a good matchup, but
any that come to mind.
So, I mean,
would you roll out, for example, a Daniel Jones against the Houston Texans?
I think I would, yes.
I think I would as well.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford against the Cardinals.
So Matt Stafford, he came up on in concussion protocol.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably sit Stafford.
Okay.
But I would start Trevor Lawrence. I think I would start Jimmy Garoppolo against the Chargers.
Wow.
That might be one that
I would start Mariota over him.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
On the other side of the ball,
yep.
Are you starting PJ Walker?
Only in super flex formats.
Okay. Got it. DJ Moore is a start, in my opinion.
Yep.
Deonta Foreman is a start.
Yep.
Is Terrace Marshall a start? One of the hottest commodities right now.
Yeah, he's a good waiver ad. He'd be a very fringe flex play, but I'm not looking to start him. I don't think there's multiple good options in it. If I'm ranking him in the top and as a flex play, I'm hedging basically. I don't think that both of them can be top 36 wide receivers.
Chuba Hubbard making the return. Are you starting him?
No,
I am not as well. I think Foreman's done enough where he will warrant himself as the starter.
Right. What about Tyler Algier?
Algier is interesting. You probably have better options. I'm not going out of my way to start him. Let's just say that.
I would start like a Jeff Wilson over Algier.
That's fair.
Good, better offense, high scoring.
Are you starting Kyle Pitts or Drake London this week?
I'm dropping Drake London so I'm not tempted.
Wow.
I
just
told
can't
people
do it with Kyle Pitts yet.
I'm not ready to drop Kyle Pitts. I will start him most likely. Like there's not too many. Like I would start Hawkinson, Everett, Ertz, and then the big guys over Pitts. But I think he's in the conversation with like Dulcich and Schultz and Taysom Hill and Higbee. Like they're all in the same range.
I think the problem with Marcus Mariota is that, again, he just has not thrown the ball enough to support these guys from a fantasy perspective. Like attempts over the last 4 weeks, 23, 28, 13, 14.
Okay, I've
That's
got a
not
theory.
enough to support. But where Marcus Mariota helps you is on the ground. He's consistently rushing the football. He does enough to be on the year the quarterback 12.
So my theory just got debunked. Marcus Mariota 6'4".
Yes, he is.
But I think looking at those big fucking buildings beside him, that he thinks they're like 15 feet tall because that's where he throws it. Like he is not like he is overthrowing these giant wide receivers, these giant pass catchers, and it's not even close. So I don't know what his problem is. Like Noah's saying, he had Kyle Pitts open for deep touchdowns and just missed him completely.
He's never been a good deep ball thrower, though.
Yeah. So I'm starting.
I'm not starting either of them either.
I'll start Pitts.
Yeah, in this matchup, you're starting Pitts?
Yeah, I'll start Pitts if I have to.
Yeah.
Unless you can pick up Zach Ertz somehow.
I'll start DJ Moore. I have confidence in him. I'll start Deonta Foreman. I'll add Terrace Marshall, but I won't start him, even though his target share has been great. And I will. I think that's it, man. Algier is interesting. I don't know that I'm there yet. I think this game could be all sorts of sloppy.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yep. All right, guys. A few more questions, then we're gonna head off. But we'll get the last couple here.
Yeah, I gotta get rocking and rolling. But yeah, we can go some double time on these last ones.
Yeah.
Got offered ETN and Amari Cooper for Justin Jefferson. I have Hill and would like to upgrade my flex.
Yeah, it's not bad. 8-man, 8-team league, by the way. So there's probably some available. I would say no, I would keep Jefferson then, I think, maybe.
It's really close.
It's an 8-team league, so there's
I think I'd have to see the full
your
roster to really give that one. In a vacuum, I'd still want Jefferson, but
yeah. In a deep league.
I can't believe I'm asking this, but stash Nick Fulton, drop Carlson next week.
No, just
yeah. Kickers are so unpredictable that it's not worth the stash.
Play them in good weather or domes.
What do we think about this trade? Sent Burrow, Pitts, Garrett Wilson for Cook and Hawkinson. Quarterback is Fields, and running backs are Henry and Swift. It's a W.
Yeah, sure. Into it.
Yep. Just traded Juju for Keenan. What do we think? I would rather have the Juju side.
Yeah, I think unless you're super deep, it's a shallow league, and you're just really waiting. Nah, you're at this point you want Juju, unfortunately.
Yep. Godwin for Zeke or a Zeke a wash for the season? I would hold Godwin.
Yeah, Zeke's a fine buy low, but yeah, Godwin in a full PPR league.
I would hold Godwin as well over Mike Will or Marquise Brown.
You can trade Marquise Brown.
Yeah. Last one, Daniel, should I try to do Mixon for Evans and Christian Kirk or Tyler Lockett? And I think we said no, keep the Mixon side.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that's going to do it for us on this Wednesday night. Good luck on Thursday. Make sure you come back and see us on Sunday. We will help you with your start sits 90 minutes before kickoff Eastern Standard Time. Be well. Good luck this week, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. See you guys. Good luck.